So this was the first swing of the day. Main thing we talked about with the full swing to start with was just setup. So look at balls of feet, knees, and armpits. So we want to be staying just a little bit taller. So the armpits are a little bit more matching up with that line. Whenever he starts off that bent over, it makes it really hard to turn and stay on that line with his head. So his tendency is really to pull up pretty hard from there, and the contact's gonna be off the toe more than anything, just from pulling up a little bit more from there. Really from there, we worked a little bit more on kind of what y'all worked on last time, talked a little bit about a different way to focus on what the right arm does to get to the top of the swing in a correct way, just so it's not going so far back. So if you look, this was a practice swing on what we talked about. So club head being outside the hands at the start of the takeaway, and then getting the right elbow to fold the way it's supposed to get the top of the swing. And it just makes it to where the club stays more in front of his chest on the way through, so he doesn't really have to do a whole lot to catch the club back up. Okay, so set up to the ball like you're going to hit it. Remember, the only thing we added with the setup is to make sure balls of feet, knees, and armpits are good. They're lined up, so that's just making you out like that, so stand a little bit taller. So take your left hand off, take that one off. Remember, your right hand does this, and then your shoulder's like losing arm wrestling contest, and the rest of it is your chest turning back. So turn your chest all the way back towards the back area. There you go. So it's gonna look more like that at the top of your swing. Remember the first couple, that elbow was getting pretty far back, so it's just more of that feeling, kind of losing arm wrestling contest, and less of like that feeling.
Yes, sir.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so start back over. So we're gonna do 3 golf balls. Remember the 3 drills that we started with, I'd recommend doing 5 balls in each to start.
Yes, sir.
So the first one's get into your impact positions. Remember, hands are going to be in line with left foot. There you go. Hips are going to be turned, and you're just going to push this ball out there. Good? Remember, the main goal of that is to have the feeling of this. Chest is tilling, hands in the club, where to go. Second drill is going to be the 50-50. So you're just taking it back hip high to hip high, and it's the same feeling on the way through. You're just letting yourself make a little small backswing before you do that same motion. Okay. And then the last one's the hit and hold. The last one, like I said, you can make as big of a backswing as you want, but on the way through, you're going smooth enough to let that club stop basically right up in front of it. Nice. And like I said, just 15 balls to start with, that'd be a good way to warm up, because it does let you think about your grip and let you think about your posture without having to worry about where the ball is going to go, because it's just small little drills like that. Questions on any of that stuff?
No, sir.
Same thing. Lowercase y, feet close together, scraping the ground. Very good. Very nice. Other thing we went over was a little bit of the concept on how to practice. So we talked about breaking up practice into 3 things. Technique. So really, if we're talking about, say, chipping, we worked on chipping today. Technique practice would be a lot of hitting shots and focusing on what we talked about, keeping the arms straight, keeping the chest moving, controlling how far back and through you're going, but not really necessarily hitting at a target, just really focusing on the technique in the beginning. From there, then you go to random practice. So you can pick different targets, different positions that you're going from, and you're just hitting shots to those positions. And then from there, play some kind of a game. And like I said, the full swing game we kind of talked about was pick 2 points. Try to hit a shot with every club in your bag between those 2 points, and keep track of how many extra shots it takes you. And like I said, it's just a way to put a little bit of pressure on yourself and practice what we've gone over. So just to go over the pitching and chipping again. Chipping was feet close together, club leaning on his left leg, and really having the feeling of this arm's not bending very much. It's just more of the hands are following the chest. His tendency at the beginning was ball back in the stance, hands really far forward, elbow bending a little bit. Like I told him, not the end of the world on technique, but whenever you're doing that, the contact has to be perfect, because the club is told to be going down a lot. So contact has to be really, really good, as opposed to more of the scraping motion. Pitching was uppercase Y. If anything, slightly open club face to a square club face, and really practicing the feeling of extending before he's hitting the ground. So full swing would be more of smushing the ball into the ground. We talked about the whole punch. So full swing is more of like punching through the hand, whereas pitching is more of like punching, moving into it. So pitch shot would be extending through. Full swing would be more extending through. So with the full swing, main thing we talked about, chest turning back, club head staying outside of the hands on the way back. So this is more of his tendency. Top of the swing, so it's more the feeling of the right arm folding the way it's supposed to keep the club out in front of the chest. And then coming back down, a lot of the drills that I gave him were having the feeling of from here to here, having the chest telling the hands where to go. His tendency at the beginning was to have a lot of this going on. So the push drill, the 50-50 drill, the hit and hold drill, all of them are mostly focusing on getting back through to that position.